Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So there is big news regarding Jack Grealish. I am going to be giving you an update on. Also going to be going through with you what players I think will remain at Manchester United next season. Also going to go through with you the players who I think will leave Manchester United in the summer, and also going to be talking with you a bit more about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But the first topic of the development I'm going to start with is Jack Grealish. Yes, I am. So, Jack Grealish's summer move to Manchester United now could be off. Now, the main explanation for this is because Jack Grealish recently crashed his £80,000 Range Rover into three parked cars in the West Midlands. I think, this was following a 4 a.m. party. Hours before this incident, Jack Grealish had advised people to stay at home due to the coronavirus and that. So now, reflecting on this incident and that, also, the police have made an investigation. He's moved now to Manchester United in the summer, could be off. And I think he could have actually, been drunk when he, crashed into these three cars, Jack Grealish. So I think it was around 70,000 or 80,000 pound Range Rover. The Sun or the Mirror, they say it's 80,000. The Daily Mail say it's 70,000 pounds. But obviously, Emil Heskey recently, come out, who is a former Aston Villa player. He's also a former Birmingham and Liverpool player. He obviously, came out before, this incident had happened, and he said, that Jack Grealish would be a great signing for Manchester United if he was to be recommended in. This is what Emil Heskey had said, and he does believe that Jack Grealish will leave Aston Villa at the end of the season, because obviously, I think Jack Grealish wants to leave Aston Villa to rejuvenate his career. Now, even if Villa were to avoid relegation, maybe that still wouldn't be enough to convince Jack Grealish to remain with them. But Jack Grealish has become an integral part of Aston Villa's team, and I think he has flourished under Dean Smith's guidance. He, was the part of Villa, progressing to the Carabao Cup final this season. Also was key for Villa, getting promotion to the Premier League. So it did actually, quote out, if we can get Jack Grealish in the summer, how much he would cost. And if Villa were to avoid relegation, I think Jack Grealish would cost us in the 60 odd or 70 odd million pound range. But if Villa were to be relegated, then he wouldn't cost us as much as 60 or 70 million pounds. Maybe he could get him for around 30 or 40 million pounds. Now, don't forget, quite a few weeks ago, Jack Grealish did reveal out how much he, would want a week if he was to come to Manchester United. And I think he said he wanted around £150,000 a week. And I think it did say Man United are willing to offer him £150,000 a week. Now, obviously, up until this point, Jack Grealish has spent the vast majority of his career with Villa. I think he did have a loan spell with Notts County. Now, Jack Grealish is still under contract with Aston Villa until 2023. Still got 3 years remaining on his contract. And I don't think there's any buyout clause inserted. But the likes of Real Madrid, Manchester City, and I think there's been narratives in the mainstream media recently saying that Liverpool have expressed an interest in him. Revert back to the summer of 2018, Tottenham were really, really close to getting Jack Grealish for around £25 million, but the deal didn't materialise. But Villa do know how much of an imperative player he is. Jack Grealish He's predominantly an attacking midfielder, occasionally can play as a winner, and he is only at the age of 24, and he is well proven in the Premier League. So I think he'd be a great addition if he was to the squad, if he was to come to Manchester United, and I think he'd go well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield, because Solskjaer wants someone to partner up with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. And I've got to be honest with you, Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Bruno Fernandes is it around 3 goals and 3 assists so far. His decision making is very, very good, and he's very instrumental. And don't forget, last month he won Premier League Player of the Month, reflecting on his good performances, Bruno Fernandes. But he's definitely making the difference in the team. But due to this, incident, with him crashing his car, Jack Grealish, this now means he may not come to Manchester United in the summer, and he may have to remain loyal till to Aston Villa. But it still doesn't mean he won't leave in the summer. You know, there's reports saying it still doesn't mean, you know, he won't leave, sorry. But it's just reports saying, you know, he could. Jack Grealish could, you know, stay at Aston Villa and that. So that's the latest news on Jack Grealish. I wanted to give you guys an update on. Now, I'll delve into news now of what players I think should stay at Manchester United, you know, for next season. And there's a lot of players, you know, that I think will be at Manchester United next season. I can definitely assure that Marcus Rashford will be at Manchester United next season. Obviously, you know, Marcus Rashford is out with a back injury at the moment. You know, he's been out with a back injury since our FA Cup game against Wolves, you know, when we beat them, yeah. And, you know, Solskjaer, of course, made the wrong decision by playing Marcus Rashford in that game, because he hadn't played him in that game, this injury to Marcus Rashford wouldn't have occurred. And Rashford, of course, was one of our best players earlier on in the season. You know, a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved. But there, again, he's endured some difficult times as a Manchester United player. But up until this point, Rashford has spent the entirety of his career with the football club. He has over 60 senior goals in over 200 odd appearances for Manchester United. I think Solskjaer does prefer Rashford on the left rather than playing, you know, in the number 9. But, you know, the good news about Rashford is now he is close to returning from injury. So when the season does resume, because it's extended indefinitely, so it will resume will the season, you know, he will be playing again, will Marcus Rashford. So definitely, you know, keep him. I'd probably keep Anthony Martial, to be quite honest with you. I know that Anthony Martial has been subjected to transfer speculation before. Obviously, you know, there's reports coming out the other week saying, you know, he could join Inter Milan possibly in the summer. But I think, you know, we will keep Anthony Martial because recently he has rejuvenated himself. This season, Martial has been playing in the number 9 role, even though he predominantly plays out wide on the left. But yeah, he's been playing in the number 9 role this season. Martial is now into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. You know, we paid £36 million in for Monaco, potentially rising up to 57 or 58 million based on goals and achievements. I think one of the best seasons Martial endured was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. You know, I think he scored around 17 goals for the football club, and we've got Martial as a 19-year-old and he's now 24 years of age. So he has been a long-serving player for Man United. But yeah, recently he's done really, really well. But he's had a lot of injuries in his Man United career, especially this season. You can say that's had a bad effect on him. But, you know, I wouldn't want to sell Anthony Martial, to be quite honest with you. So he's another player I would keep. Definitely, you know, I would keep Mason Greenwood because I think, you know, he's an exciting young prospect. And I think in the next couple of years' time, he'll emulate to Rashford's level. Probably will end up overtaking Marcus Rashford, to be quite honest with you. Mason Greenwood can play in the number 9 and he can also play on the right. I think this is his first season in the senior squad, and I think he's got, like, is it 12 or 13 goals in all competitions this season. He seldom starts in the Premier League, does Greenwood, but he tends to start more in the cup games. He started a couple of times in the league this season as the player. Also, definitely, you know, keep Daniel James. Obviously, you know, he was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first signing. You know, we paid £15 million to him from Swansea last summer. I think there was add-ons included as well, that raising it up to 17 or 18 million pounds. Now, I know when we signed Daniel James, I expected him to get minutes under his belt, but I didn't expect him to play as many games to the extent as he has done, Daniel James. I've been surprised in that aspect. I do believe, from my own perception, Solskjaer's been overplaying Daniel James a little bit. You know, he's rested him in a couple of games. You know, Daniel James, you know, we've played him on the left this season, we've played him on the right, because he can play on each flank, but you tend to see the best of Daniel James on the left. Aspects of his game need to improve. Maybe his crossing needs to improve, his tracking back needs to improve, but prior to that, you know, nothing much more really needs to improve, really, does it? You know, he scored in the 5-0 win against Leicester. That was his first goal for Man United since the 31st of August, so it was good to see him end his goal drought. So he's another player I think definitely will be at Man United next season. Also, you know, Juan Mata, he's another player. Now, I definitely keep Juan Mata. So I think Juan Mata will be at Manchester United next season. I think you can say he's a good backup to Bruno Fernandes is Juan Mata. And I've got to say, probably Juan Mata is a better solution than Lingard and Andres Pereira because they are two liabilities. And when Juan Mata plays, he tends to make an impact. And he has lost that yard of pace as Juan Mata now, doesn't play nowhere near as much as he used to. Mata's now into his 6th season at Manchester United. Man United paid £40 million for him from Chelsea back under the David Moyes era. So yeah, I think he will be here next season with Juan Mata. Also too, definitely Bruno Fernandes will, like I mentioned earlier on in the video, he's done very, very well for us. Odegaard Gallo, definitely I think, we'll get Odegaard Gallo on a permanent transfer because don't forget recent reports did confirm that Solskjaer has made an admission saying it's likely that we'll get Odegaard Gallo on a permanent transfer. Manchester United paid around 3 or 4 million to get Odegaard Gallo in on loan. We're paying like a third of his wages, and it's been revealed he will cost us around £15 million if we are to get him on a permanent transfer, Odegaard Gallo. Obviously, don't forget his parenting club, Shanghai Shenhua. Sky Sports confirmed the other day saying they'd offered Odegaard Gallo £400,000 a week before tax. £400,000 a week before tax. Plus a 2-year contract extension to convince him to turn down a permanent move to Man United. Ighalo has 4 goals in 3 starts for the football club, and he's an option of a different type of centre forward because, like I mentioned, he's totally comparison to our other attacking players is Ighalo. But, his hold-up play is very, very good, and he's been a United fan since he was a boy, and he's highly experienced. But even if we get Odegaard Gallo permanently, like I mentioned, Manchester United still need another centre-forward in there. But yeah, I think, he won't go back to Shanghai Shenhua. I think he will remain at Manchester United. Also, too, definitely I would keep Fred because I've been very, very impressed with Fred. He's really rejuvenated himself and, he's had his opportunities under Solskjaer. He's relished these opportunities and he's done really, really well. He's been totally comparison, to how he was, under Mourinho. He seldom played under Mourinho, to be fair, Fred never really got any opportunities. He was exceptional, in Ukraine with Shakhtar Donetsk. Man United paid £50 million for Fred. And I think he's done really very, very well alongside McTominay in our midfield. And, McTominay is a player that will be here next season. McTominay, before his injury, did well. And I think since he's come back from his long-term absence, he's also done really, really well. So they do make a good midfield partnership. Yep. Matic, he will be here next season. At one point, it was looking very imminent that Nemanja Matic was going to be leaving the football club. But obviously, as you all know, the other week, Man United triggered that 1-year extension on Matic's, contract. It's reflected on his good run of performances, and I think this is the main explanation why we give Nemanja Matic this 1-year extension on his contract. Matic is a backup to Fred and McTominay, but, he deserves to keep his place in the team, reflecting on how good he's done, Matic. 3rd season at the club, made over 100 appearances. Man United paid £40 million for him from Chelsea. So yeah, he will be here next season. I want to confirm that. Paul Pogba, not too sure about him because there is uncertainty over his future at the moment. I can also confirm with you, I think definitely Luke Shaw will be at Man United next season. Luke Shaw's now into his 6th season at Manchester United. Luke Shaw has endured some rough patches as a Manchester United player. Prime example, he had a difficult time under Mourinho, just like Martial did, just like Pogba and that did. And he's had quite a lot of injuries as a Man United player. But he's done really, really well because he was out with injury for like 2 months early on this season. But since he's come back, Luke Shaw has done really, really well. So he does deserve a lot of credit. But I think he had a record of injuries during his time at Southampton. I think we paid around, 30 million for him from Southampton. And he's still got a lot of years ahead of him as Luke Shaw. He's actually now our first choice left back. It was Brandon Williams. But, we've decided to go back with Luke Shaw as our first choice because he's done well since he's come back. Williams is obviously a player that will be here next season. This has been Brandon Williams' first season in the senior squad. Got to give him a lot of credit as well. Definitely keep Victor Lindelof. He's another player I would keep. He's now into his 3rd season as a Manchester United player. Again, we got him under Jose Mourinho for £30 million from Benfica. I think he didn't really settle in his first season, struggled for that consistency, but I think last season did well, and this season a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved, and he looks very good alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. You know, Maguire's another player that will be here next season. You know, we got Harry Maguire last summer from Leicester for £80 million. He's the most expensive defender in the world, and he's the second most expensive signing at the football club is Harry Maguire behind Paul Pogba. And I think Manchester United made the right decision by giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis. We're giving the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure. But his composure's good, his awareness is good, and his distribution's very good as Maguire's. I think Maguire's on like 2 goals now for the football club. He scored his first Premier League goal, was it, against Chelsea, and his first goal for the club in the 6-0 win against Tranmere. Also, I think Bailly will be here next season. Bailly's a very good backup, isn't he? But, you know, probably Bailly could end up overtaking Victor Lindelof because since Bailly's come back, he's done really well. My only element of concern about Eric Bailly is that, you know, he's injury prone. He's sustained a lot of injuries as a Manchester United player. Bailly is now into his 4th season at Manchester United. We paid £30 million for him from Villarreal. By the way, he was Jose Mourinho's first signing, was Eric Bailly. Tuanzebe, he's also a good backup centre-half. He will be here next season, will Tuanzebe. He's just recently come back from injury. I think before he was injured early on the season, you know, he did put some good performances out. You know, I think he's played at left-back a few times early on in the season. But his versatility is very good, is Tuanzebe's. Definitely, you know, we will keep Wan-Bissaka. You know, he'll be here next season. I think he's enjoyed a good, you know, season with Man United. You know, people did have element of concerns about the attacking side of his game, but, you know, we have started to see the attacking side of his game, you know, recently. But his defensive contributions also, he's always been very good. You know, broke into Crystal Palace's senior squad back in February 2018, enjoyed a good season with Palace. Last season, that is. Now he's replicating this at Manchester United, and Man United paid around £45 million for Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, Dalot, I would keep him. I don't really have a perception on Dalot at the moment, you know, because he's sustained a few injuries this season, so that means he's seldom played. Towards the back end of last season, I think he was playing at right wing quite a few times, you know, was Diego Dalot. But yeah, he will be here next season, I can confirm that. Sergio Romero, he will also be here next season. He's our second choice goalkeeper, Romero. Don't think he's yet reliable enough to become our number 1 keeper, but he tends to start in the cup games, doesn't he, Sergio Romero? But his stats are actually, you know, very impressive, Sergio Romero's. And yeah, so they're the players that I think, you know, that will be at Manchester United next season. But I do believe that the players that are going to go in the summer, Solskjaer's planning to get rid of around 5 players in the summer transfer window. I can definitely assure with you guys that Phil Jones won't be here next season. We'll look to get rid of him in the summer, and we can generate some money for his departure, because don't forget, last season Phil Jones signed a new long-term contract with the club, and that was a mistake from the football club, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract. Jones has been here since the Ferguson era, and he's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. But we've definitely, you know, got to move Phil Jones on, because he can't get in the team anyway. He can't even get in the team, can Phil Jones. So he's one player I think that will be moved on. You know, one player that will be moved on. Lingard, Pereira, they're definitely 2 players that I think that are going to leave Manchester United in the summer. You know, they're both liabilities, definitely. Liabilities of Lingard and Pereira. Like I mentioned before, reflecting on the amount of years Lingard has been here and his overall status at the football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. Okay, he can perform well against the big teams and that, and he's, you know, and he scored in like 3 of our finals. But he's too inconsistent, because look at his stats last season. Didn't register 1 goal or 1 single assist in the league, did Jesse Lingard. Whether you play him in number 10 or whether you play him on the right, we just can't seem to get the best out of him. So it'd be the sensible decision to let him go in the summer. Just under 16 months left on his contract as Jesse Lingard. Also to Pereira. He's had some decent games as a Manchester United player. He's actually played a lot this season, but you know, the only main explanation why he's played a lot this season is due to, you know, with McTominay being out injured, but now McTominay's back. Pereira's finding it hard to get in the team. He tends to make a lot of substitute appearances, does Andres Pereira. He's under contract here till 2023. I think we're yeah, he had 2 loan spells, didn't he, with Granada and Valencia, but he's still very, very young. We'll definitely negotiate on getting rid of Sanchez on a permanent transfer when his loan spell ends with Inter Milan. Despite the fact that Sanchez is on loan with Inter Milan, we're still paying the vast majority of his wages. I still believe the club are paying him around £300,000 a week, and Inter Milan are paying like the other £100,000 a week. But we need to get rid of him permanently because it will free up our wage bill completely. Because his wages were having a really bad effect on our wage structure, when he was at the club, because he was on like £400,000 a week. But Sanchez endured a difficult 18 months with Manchester United. But I don't think he'll be coming back for the foreseeable future, or never. He may never ever come back, I don't know. But Solskjaer did say in January that Sanchez, will come back to prove everybody wrong. But yeah, he was very, very inconsistent. I think we'll negotiate on getting rid of Marcus Rojo on a permanent transfer because he's on loan at Estudiantes at the moment. Chris Smalling, we're probably going to get rid of him on a permanent transfer when his loan spell ends with Roma. He's done very, very well with Roma. Don't forget Smalling did endure 9 years at Manchester United. He could still, there's a slight chance he could come back, but I'm sceptical that it will happen. Fosu Mensah, there's been talk saying, Man United could also get rid of him in the summer. Possibly David De Gea. David De Gea, he could possibly go in the summer transfer window. Even if he doesn't go in the summer, I'm very, very sceptical that De Gea from now will spend the entirety of his career with Man United. I admire his career because he's enjoyed a great career. He's now into his 9th season at the football club, is David De Gea. And, he's won everything here domestically. He's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the past 6 years, reflecting on his good run of performances and that. But I've got to say, at least in the last couple of years, De Gea has become a liability, reflecting on his calamitous mistakes. If De Gea was to leave Manchester United, I think he would make a return back to Spain and that, because he began his career in Spain with Atletico Madrid. But I think, if we sold David De Gea this summer, we could get probably around £70 million for him. Back in 2015, Real Madrid were close to getting a deal finalised for him. But obviously, due to the fax machine on deadline day, the deal never materialised, so he remained at Man United. Last September, signed a new long-term contract worth £375,000 a week. And I think he's made, is it 400 or nearly 400 appearances for Man United in all competitions. But Dean Henderson is expected to come back to Man United after his loan spell with Sheffield United, so he could become our #1 goalkeeper, and then that means David De Gea could lose his place in the team. So let's just put that into the equation now. So yeah, they're the possible players that could leave Manchester United in the summer. Yes, and now I want to give you my overarching view on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, I do believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does deserve another season at Manchester United, because this is his first full season at the moment. And obviously, it's been up and down, hasn't it, under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tenure. Like I've said to you on my recent videos, there's some positives you can take from his tenure so far, but there's also some negatives that you can take from his tenure so far. Solskjaer's been Man United manager now for 15 months in total, including the 3 months when he was the interim manager, and he's been permanent Manchester United manager now for a year as Solskjaer. But some people believe he's had long enough. Like I said, it takes some managers time to settle in, doesn't it, straight away? It takes managers time to settle in. Some managers settle in straight away, but sometimes it takes some managers time. Jurgen Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool. Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United, when we recommended him in. Obviously, he was 1 game away from the sack, but then look what Alex Ferguson then went and accomplished. When after he didn't win out in his first 4 years, the vast majority of our silverware we won came under the Alex Ferguson era. But he does deserve more time, does Solskjaer, and that. You've got to give him a lot of credit because we've been in a good run of form recently. We are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. It does seem a long time ago now since football was last played. The Premier League, and that's been suspended since the 9th of March. Obviously, he did get suspended until April the 3rd. Then obviously, they extended the suspension until April the 30th at the earliest. The season will definitely resume. I've been hearing recent reports saying that, the Premier League have confirmed that the season will resume at the start of July and games will be played behind closed doors over a period of 4 to 6 weeks and that. So that's what I did currently hear. But I do believe there'll be another emergency meeting, coming up, you know, to the established plans for the remainder of the season and that. But this coronavirus is very, very bad, I've got to be honest with you. But unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions, it's our best vein of form since Solskjaer was the interim manager, you know. And Solskjaer got the job permanently, reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Also, you've got to credit him for the players he's recommended in so far, because we spent, you know, he spent around £220 million. He's also got rid of a lot of the dead wood. His approach to the big game, Solskjaer's, has also been very, very good. You know, he showed a lot of tactical flexibility and he's been making the right decisions. And our record against the big six sides this season has been absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, you know, you've got to give him some credit for last season. You know, last season got us to the FA Cup quarter-final. You know, obviously, you know, we had that fantastic win against PSG. That was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as Man United manager. You know, it give me a glimpse of 1999, don't forget, which was over 20 years ago now, when Manchester United did win the treble. And this season he's progressed us to the FA Cup quarter-finals and the last 8 of the Europa League. And the FA Cup and the Europa League are two priorities for Manchester United because it is a chance for us getting some silverware on the board. So they are definitely two priorities for Man United. And don't forget, Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because the vast majority of this team is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Solskjaer's still in the process of rebuilding this team. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players in. There's still a couple of players here from the Van Gaal era, Matari from the David Moyes era, etc., etc., and that. And hopefully, you know, when Solskjaer does eventually, you know, leave, because he's planning his long-term future with the club as manager, eventually when he does leave, it will be hopeful that he can, you know, leave a better squad behind than obviously, you know, the one he inherited. So let's just put that into the equation. But yeah, so he's still in the process of rebuilding. But Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. Obviously, you know, 3 managers have been sacked since the Ferguson era. Of course, you saw David Moyes getting sacked. He should have never got recommended in, and Ferguson was at fault for ever recommending David Moyes in, thinking that season under Moyes we finished 7th. And, you know, under Moyes, you know, he brought Fellaini and Juan Mata in. Obviously, you know, then Van Gaal came in and he recruited a lot of players in, did Louis Van Gaal. I think we've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Ferguson era and spent just under £1 billion on, you know, arrivals. You know, Van Gaal brought the likes of Schneiderlin, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Memphis Depay, Falcao, Di Maria, Daley Blind. They're all the players that, you know, Louis Van Gaal had brought into the club, and there's still Shari and Martial from the Louis Van Gaal era, etc., etc. There. You know, Jose Mourinho, like I mentioned, he spent around £400 million at the football club. You know, we've only won 3 trophies in the last 6 or 7 years since Ferguson's retirement, and that was the FA Cup under Van Gaal and the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho. So yeah, but we've not yet won out in terms of silverware under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. The negatives about Solskjaer is that his record has been disastrous since he got the job permanently. It hasn't been too good, but his record was also disastrous at Cardiff. But, you know, he only enjoyed the short tenure with Cardiff because he got sacked in Cardiff, did Solskjaer. And yeah, but he does deserve more time at the football club. Some people are very sceptical that, you know, we'll win the title under Solskjaer, but we will see what happens. And if it doesn't work out next season, then I would get rid of Solskjaer. Then I'd probably either recommend Pochettino in, or possibly even recommend Massimiliano Allegri in. But, you know, we shall see. Obviously, earlier on today, I gave you the news, didn't I, on Jadon Sancho. Obviously, you know, it was stemming from the Irish Independent. They said that Jadon Sancho Jadon Sancho's unofficially confirmed that he will be completing a transfer to Manchester United this summer, and he's going to cost Man United around £120 million, at least £100 million, and Man United are willing to offer Sancho around a £400,000 a week contract, which will make him the highest paid player at the club, as well as the most expensive signing. 400 grand a week's double than what Marcus Rashford's on, because Rashford's on around £200,000 a week at the football club. And Man United are willing to offer him the iconic number 7 shirt because, like I mentioned, we've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations, and hopefully Jadon Sancho can follow them footsteps. It was contrast to what was coming out yesterday because the Borussia Dortmund CEO's confirmed that he'll let Sancho leave if he wants to leave. They won't stand in his way. But Man United have got to meet his full asking price, and I think we are determined to do that. But yeah, there's been a lot of players on our agenda, so yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.